In the heart of Jos, a city of rolling hills and quiet resilience, there are stories rarely spoken aloud, stories carried in silence. Obstetric fistula is not just a medical condition, it is isolation, it is loss, it is a war built from shame and misunderstanding.
When she had the leaking, it wasn't easy for her. It was really a crying moment for her. All of the night she cried, and people in her community were saying, come and see something we have never seen. She became like a laughing stock. So normally if she see people coming, she will run into the room and hide. She's always on the bed. That's where she stays day and night, because coming out, she is like a laughing stock to the community. And while she's there, she will pee, the pee will reach out up to her neck. She will carry the baby also is wet. Nobody wants to come near her and all of that. It was there they heard about this center here, and she came. After that, she was healed, and she said she's no longer called names attached to the stigma that has followed her. And she is thanking God for what he has done, because she trusted him and he was able to touch and heal her. She is happy now that she's healed. She is calling on men to really look into the issue of women, that during the time that she went through this several crises with this fistula, her husband was not there. He didn't even come to see her. He was not there to console her. It was her eldest child that was looking after her, taking her to the hospital, washing her clothing. And she is calling on men that this is what they have done together. Why wouldn't they continue together and heal together and cry together? One person had it, then they will turn their backs on them. That if the community or the media will take this far and near to men, this will go a long way, so that men will also be part of what the women go through and what they are facing. And she is thanking everyone for all of this that they are doing, especially the center here where she came. She received healing without a dime. She didn't pay anything. And she is praying that other women that are also having this, God will touch them and heal them and give them a testimony.
So, what exactly is vesical vaginal fistula? It occurs after a very long or difficult childbirth, where the baby presses on the tissues inside the mother for many hours or days without proper medical help. This pressure cuts off blood supply, the tissue dies, and a hole is then formed between her bladder and her vagina. Out of this hole, urine leaks from the bladder into the vagina all the time, and the woman cannot control the urine. The constant leaking of urine and the rotting of the tissue in the hole between the bladder and the tissue leads to a terrible odor. She develops skin sores or infections around the private area, as well as pain and discomfort. It leads to stigmatization by family members and most often abandonment by their husbands and wider families. For many women, the injury is only the beginning. What follows is abandonment. But for some, the journey leads here. For over 3 decades, the Evangel VVF Center has stood as a place of refuge, a place where healing begins.
Vesicovaginal fistula is a descriptive term for a condition that affects women and girls. The main issue is prolonged obstructed labor that leads to destruction of the bladder or part of the urinary system and or the gastrointestinal system. And this leads to continuous leakage of urine 24/7 throughout the woman's life unless there's a surgical intervention that eventually heals it. So this leads to a very distressful situation where women are continually wet and smelling of urine and feces or both. It also affects a lot of other things. Sometimes it can stop them from having children. Sometimes they can be paralyzed, they are unable to walk, or one of the feet may be dragging. And so it has a lot of psychological, socio-economic impact in the lives of these women. Above all, the stigma associated with this condition. And so it is a problem that has both physical, social, economic, psychological, and even mental complications. And because it affects the poorest of the poor in the community, and the only way to solve it is surgical, most women are not able to access health. Most people are not able to access the needed surgery that would cure them. And so they tend to live with this condition, and eventually the mental, psychological complications tend to lead to a severe depression and attempted suicide. Some women have actually successfully committed suicide because of this problem.
Here, myths are replaced with knowledge, and fear begins to give way to hope. Healing is not only surgical, it is shared. Within these walls, strangers become sisters.
I got this problem after my first delivery. When I got this, I had a prolonged labor from 7 p.m. at 11 a.m. the next day when my amniotic fluid burst, and I didn't give birth till 5 p.m. in the evening. And when I was about to deliver, the nurses were not at my bedside. It was teaching practice students that were there. I had to plead with them to help me inform the nurses because I was already too tired, losing my breath. They too were worried. They went and informed the nurses. When the nurse came, she checked me and said they should hold on. I kept calling my younger sister to come and help me. I was already exhausted. The nurse came back. She then asked what was it I wanted them to do for me. I told her I couldn't give birth myself. The child is not moving and I am already tired. She then said she has already checked and they can't do anything there for me. I will have to be sent to a bigger hospital to undergo cesarean surgery. Knowing where I am from and what we can and cannot afford. After all, even feeding was already a problem. I stood up by myself and picked up a razor and gave it to another nurse there, begging her to help me and the child I was going to give birth to. She should tear me wider so the child can come out. I had already felt the baby's hair close by when I touched. So the nurse used the razor to tear me and it didn't work out. She picked up a knife and used it to tear me. In the process, she touched my rectum. I didn't know the extent of the tear at that time. When the baby was coming, she had torn me in 6 places already, which they stitched, and they did so while I was in severe pain. Even the childbirth wasn't as painful as the stitching to me. When I was screaming through the pain of the stitches, they told me to sit in warm salt water once I get home. I went home and did as I was advised, but the pain wasn't subsiding. It got unbearable. I told my mother I was pooping through the vagina and I was told to sit in warm water, but I think it was causing the pain to escalate. I couldn't control the poop. Sanitary pad is used during menstrual period, but I was using it to prevent stool from coming out. And when I couldn't afford pads, I used drugs to prevent it. What worried me most during this period was the kind of husband God gave me. I married him for the sake of love and loved him sincerely, but he betrayed me when I was going through this, and I got this predicament because of him. He felt disgusted by me. From there on, I was taken to a private hospital. They tried, but it didn't work out. The next thing I heard was the doctor saying they had stitched it and it wasn't a problem anymore. Even my husband would not worry. When I got home, I was still stooling. I was taken to Mango Hospital. The doctor that attended to me checked me and told me he'd direct me to another hospital, which was Jankono. If I decided to go that day, they will attend to me and do the surgery free. My family didn't forget me. They helped me. At the end, my husband came also to assist me. But even at that, I was still angry with the way everyone was avoiding me. I thought the doctors at the hospital in Jankono would also feel disgusted, just the way some of my family members were disgusted with me. But the doctors were kind and caring. Foreign doctor also calmed me down. They admitted me. They asked me what song I'd like to listen to because they couldn't perform surgery on me when my blood pressure was already high. I was too worried with the continuous surgery I have undergone. I chose to listen to Tiwa Savage's song. While we chatted, the doctors were calming me down. The people who I can barely match up to, yet they kept me company. That alone soothed me. I told myself I would make sure I went through it all calmly and would not leave my marriage with this problem. I had given birth to my 3 children. During the third, I gave birth through CS. And now we are together with my husband, married peacefully.
In community, dignity is restored, and with dignity comes possibility.
When I had this problem, I was at Pangshin. I started the labor and spent 3 days in the hospital. When they came, I wasn't able to deliver her. So the staff taught me a little so I could deliver my baby. I spent 2 days in the hospital before I was discharged. When I got home, I observed that I had urine and poo leakage. I assumed it was because of the tear. So I told my friend about my problem, and she suggested we went back to the hospital. We went back to the hospital together, and when I explained my situation to the doctor, they took me to the theater where I got a surgery and was discharged later. When I went home, I still had the same problem. It hadn't stopped. I went back to the hospital and underwent a second surgery. I was taken to the ward, and later the stool started leaking. For the first surgery, they had already complained that it was my carelessness that caused it. So when it happened after the second surgery and I was still in the ward, I was glad because I felt vindicated.
Across Nigeria, more centers are rising, 25 and counting.
To date, we have about 25 EVF centers in Nigeria, but only about 8 are offering regular care for fistula women consistently throughout the year. The others work maybe through outreaches or maybe through pool effort once in a while to provide the service.
Each one a beacon of second chances. But healing does not end at the hospital gate. It continues in the world beyond, because for every woman who arrives, many more remain unseen.
Advice I'm giving now is for the women who are still in the trenches. Let this predicament not happen to us, and we think it's okay to turn away from our children. Rather, it should make us draw them closer to us. I want the rest of the women to listen. Even if someone dislikes or likes you, try to look for the solution to your predicament. Go and receive treatment. Your marriage will be back to normal. Now my husband gives me attention. He doesn't want to let me go. Why? Because the doctors here at John Connell gave me the encouragement I needed to stay in my marriage, and I am enjoying my home. The women who are not aware of this should be guided right towards this path. I can only thank and appreciate everyone. Hausa, Fulani, Christians who will stick together. We women who are diagnosed with VVF and rectal vaginal fistula. Any situation a woman finds herself, she should come here. She will get better, and everything is free of charge.
Every woman deserves a safe birth. Every survivor deserves dignity, a voice, a future.
Every person, irrespective of who she is, deserves dignity. And when it comes to pregnancy and child labor, that is one of the most critical aspects of a woman's life when she's bringing out or bringing forth life into the world. And so I want to say to healthcare workers, the pain that fistula survivors have gone through are not anything that can be compared to anything in the world. And it will be unfair that we in the health field or in medical practice are said to be contributing towards this. We've taken an oath to preserve life, and I encourage us to do that, to ensure that during childbirth, that a woman is treated with utmost respect and dignity and supported through that process. And when labor becomes complicated, that referrals are made immediately and not gamble with people's life and do what you don't have the professional competence to carry out.
The silence can end. The stigma can end. But only if we act.